9 more La Liga games to go to find out who is going to win this season's La Liga. Now, Real Madrid are in a very unique position, and then a lot of people do not understand this yet, but we are in a very unique position. Bellingham and Mbappe are back. A division of Madridistas are not happy that they are back. And then another division, they are ecstatic that Mbappe and Bellingham are back. Then you're wondering, how could this possibly be? I mean, Mbappe is the best player in the world. He's the highest goal scorer in the La Liga, in Champions League, and for Real Madrid. Then Bellingham, we all know Bellingham. Bellingham is excellent. I mean, he's very good at that. But then, how is it that some certain Madrid fans are not happy about this? In this video, we are going to be explaining the implications of Mbappe and Bellingham coming back into this squad. We're going to do that right here. I'm going to explain it to you, the implications, the good and the bad. Also, I feel like it's a good time, the international break is coming up, to compare performance levels between our first coach of the season, Xabi Alonso, and our current coach, Alvaro Arbeloa. Now, let's start off with the implication of Bellingham and Mbappe. This lineup shocked everyone. When we saw this lineup coming up against Man City, everyone, we had concluded we would lose the game in the first leg. But this lineup shocked absolutely everyone. But in that game, Mendy played and Courtois played, but those two are injured, right? Alright, so we move on. In any case, no one is talking about this man over here much, Brahim Diaz, and also we'll get to Peter in a minute. Brahim Diaz, no one is talking about him because he hasn't scored, I mean, in the past 5 or 4 starts, Brahim Diaz hasn't gotten a goal for us, and that's why no one is talking about him. But I'm telling you, I am here to tell you guys, this man's work in this lineup, in this formation, it is very important. Absolutely, it is of the utmost importance. Now, you're wondering, what does Brahim Diaz actually even do? Now, Brahim Diaz his top priority isn't to score goals. He isn't a classic number 9. Brahim Diaz is an offensive player, attacking mid, perhaps, a creative winger or somewhat of a creative second striker, just that kind of player profile, right? Now, Brahim Diaz enables others to find themselves in better positions. He enables others to, score goals, basically. Now, you'd have seen a very good moment from Brahim Diaz, the assist he gave to Fede Valverde over here in the first leg against Manchester City. Brahim Diaz is very good, close control, tight corners, tight spaces. Brahim Diaz is very good. You also saw he was able to win a penalty against Atletico de Madrid. I mean, and that was the start of the comeback. Who brought about that? It was Brahim Diaz with his quick foot. Brahim Diaz over here. Now, aside from that, when we face opponents like Man City, who do more of the dominating possession and that, Brahim Diaz is comfortable dropping back and also pressing high. Brahim Diaz is very good at that. To be honest, I didn't know he was good at that, but honestly, we've seen him, being good at it. Now, Mbappe is going to come back. How is this going to affect, this whole situation we have over here? In the game against Man City and also Atletico de Madrid, you would have noticed Brahim Diaz doesn't necessarily, stick to this position over here. He can be over here. A few times he can be over here. He can be here. He can be here. That's Brahim Diaz for you. Now, in the game against Atletico de Madrid, you will have noticed Fede Valverde making inverted runs like this into the opponent's box. And, that's basically how he got his goal. Making runs to basically apply the press and also try and score goals. And when you get stuff like that, there were like 2 versions of these runs from Valverde. If he wasn't making an inverted run like this, he was making a direct, forward run like this. And that's how he got his first goal against Man City and his first attempt against Atletico. So you understand the point. Brahim Diaz is either here or he's over here, and Fede Valverde is inverted over here, which is very helpful to the team. Now, let's swap Brahim Diaz over here with Mbappe, because surely, I know that's what Arbeloa would do. Mbappe is back on. Now, Kylian Mbappe over here he isn't 18 or 19 anymore or 17. Back at Monaco, he used to own the right wing. Right now he prefers to score more goals, which we love. So you see that whole movement of Brahim Diaz, drifting over here and also coming backwards to press and create those kind of, passes that kind of break lines, stuff like that, helping Fede Valverde to make inverted runs this way. You wouldn't really see that sort of movement from Mbappe. Rather, this is what we see from Mbappe. Instead of drifting out to the right, we see him drifting to the left. You understand what I'm saying? So we kind of do have this empty space here for the opponent's left back and left centre back, which is not very good for us. In other news, if you'd like what we have been doing in the past 4 games, and I'm sure you do, Mbappe's entrance back into the team, it would tweak the way we've played in the last 4 games. I'm not saying it must be a negative tweak. I'm not saying it must be a negative tweak. It could be positive. I mean, Mbappe is the best player in the world. But at the same time, it's not going to be the same way we saw Brahim Diaz do it. Mbappe doesn't back press as much as Brahim Diaz. He doesn't press as much as Brahim Diaz. I'm not complaining about that. So that's the implication, having Mbappe back in. Now, the next man, Pitach. Pitach has been the workhorse in the team. We know he's also good at, receiving the ball, close control, clever turns and all of that. But we've mostly seen him as the workhorse. What is the workhorse? Someone who struggles to get the ball back, pressing relentlessly. We've seen Pitach in all areas of the pitch, here. Just pressing relentlessly, and we love that. But then, start to see, or maybe not Saturday, Pitach will be out. Jude Bellingham will be back in. If Bellingham decides, sure, you know what, I'm going to sacrifice all that box crashing and, my lead clutch moments and help the team as a workhorse, sure, I guess that will be fine as well. But in any case, if Bellingham is back in, it stands to reason that Bellingham would come over here and Valverde would come over here. And then perhaps we would see those kind of movements we saw from Valverde, we'd start seeing them from Bellingham, and then Valverde would be the workhorse. Because to be honest, in Real Madrid, the 2 workhorses we have, or the popular ones we know we have, Valverde and Bellingham. But then who is most likely to do the work as a workhorse? It's Valverde. You have to think about this. Now we have Valverde over here, and Bellingham would most likely do, make those attacking runs from the right-hand side. I haven't seen him do much of that from there, but it's Bellingham. I know he can do it. The major implication is Mbappe. Would Mbappe be able to move in such a way that would help everyone in the team and not just himself score goals? That's just the question. In any case, implications of Mbappe and Bellingham coming back into the squad, there you have it. These are big personalities. They can turn up in big games. Definitely, they know how to take the pressure. But also, coming back into the team changes the dynamic of the team's movement and flow. Let me know your opinion on this down in the comment section. Next up, we move over to Arbeloa versus Xabi Alonso. Now, as you can see, this start over here includes Xabi Alonso's Club World Cup games, but we'll go ahead with that. Now, we got to see more goals per game under Xabi Alonso. You understand what I'm saying? Although Arbeloa hasn't played as much games, not even nearly as much, so we can't conclude on that. But then we've seen a very positive start in the sense that we've conceded less goals per game, unlike Xabi Alonso. Then, possession-wise, which is the key part, I told you guys, Arbeloa is looking mainly to be sort of, sit back, a lower defensive line, sit back, press at the right moment, get the ball, score goals. You understand? It's very simple with him. Whereas Xabi Alonso really wanted more. I mean, the team held the ball more. We had a lot of possession under Xabi Alonso. A whole lot of possession, which would also give you a lot of chances to score goals. That is that. A lot of passes as well under Xabi Alonso, lesser passes under Arbeloa. Now, these are the games we've taken so far this season. Our next game is away at Mallorca over here. And we saw Arbeloa got introduced as the main manager from the Albacete game, and then we've been with him all the way, to Atletico Madrid's game. And then within that space of time, he has had, we've lost 4 games. 4 games in 17 games played. Not really the best, to be honest. Not really the best. But ultimately, Champions League wise, which is all Real Madrid cares about, they are doing quite well with Arbeloa under, that section. In 17 games with Xabi Alonso, because that would be more fair. In 17 games, starting from when the league started with Xabi Alonso, we got 2 losses and 2 draws, which is a much better start, than what Arbeloa has. 2 losses and 2 draws is definitely much better. But then, it's funny because Arbeloa has secured victory twice against Man City. Twice, and that's definitely a tougher game. Arbeloa has come this far because he has given each, individual player the respect they want. He gives it to them. He shows them the care. Basically, the emotions in the dressing room, it's all very good with Arbeloa. Whereas with Xabi Alonso, I guess it wasn't that good. That's what we're going to be concluding with for this video. Down in the comment section, let me know, how do you think the rest of the season, or rather, how do you think the season is going to end? Are we going to walk away with the La Liga or Champions League? Who knows? Let me know down in the comment section. I'll catch you guys later.